You're watching Personal Finance with Coach Kelvin. Let's get into the video. Hey guys, Coach Kelvin here. And today I want to talk to you about 5 different income streams that you can potentially build or make to increase your income on top of what you're already earning from your job. So the first and possibly the most easiest to actually start would just be to get overtime at your current job. So something you can do is speak to your employer and say, look, if there's any other tasks or anything else that I can get involved in, I would absolutely love to do some extra work. So you simply say to them, look, what I want to do is stay after my 8 hours or my 7.6 hours of obliged work and work any extra work that comes up. I can work weekends, I can start early, finish late, etc. Of course, this is not a passive type of income. You're having to swap time for money in order to achieve it. But what's pretty great about this is you're already with the same employer, so all your finances are more predictable. You're already going to know what day you get paid on, and you already know the job. So it's not like you have to be stressed out in leaving that job and going to work at another job and potentially running yourself through a bit more stress in order to do so. So overtime can be really good, but understand that the more sort of income you earn, obviously that could push you into a higher tax bracket later on. But don't worry about this because you only pay extra tax if you earn extra money. So it's actually completely fine, okay? There's no reason to be stressed about that. All right, so the next thing you can look at to do to increase your income is get a second job. So what you could do is find a job that works opposite hours or different hours to what you're currently doing. It's not going to add any stress to you, and it's possibly going to be just a low impact and easy to add into your lifestyle job. An example of this might be driving for Uber, doing Uber Eats, where you can choose your hours. You are simply in your car delivering food to people or delivering people around the place. Now, this can be fairly low stress. It can offset some of the cost of vehicle ownership, but obviously there are other costs that are added to it. So you have to pay a more expensive registration fee just to keep your car up to date as a people charter. You also have to basically be aware of more maintenance costs that can come up. So you're more likely to go through tires quicker, have to replace the brakes, get regular servicing, etc. So there are more costs involved in owning your car if you use it for these sort of people carrying services. But of course, you can earn income while doing it. So that can be very cool. Now, I would personally love to do something like Uber Eats as a side gig if I wasn't already doing 2 jobs and I wanted extra income but had no other way. I could use that time to listen to some really cool podcasts while I was driving around, so I could multitask and get a bit of education and learning from sources that I really enjoy whilst also making a bit of money on the side. So I think that could be a very effective use of my time in order to achieve a little bit of extra income, okay? Now, the next thing I want to talk about is renting out space or your car. So something you can do is, set up a room or a portion of your house on Airbnb and lease that out using this platform. People will come to you in order to use your space. They will pay you for your time, and then you just simply include any cleaning and maintenance costs within your fee so that you offset some of the ownership costs of that property, etc. Now, when you are looking to do this, there's obviously like an inherent risk to it. You're putting your property out in a space or a place that makes it available for people to access, and people may not respect it the way that you do. However, there's still a way to make income by doing this, which is quite cool. I think it's a very effective use of your space and time, and you might find also that by doing this, you sort of you get a bit of passive income. You're not actually having to actively trade your time while that person is within the facility or the room that they are leasing off you. It's just the maintenance and the cleaning before and after that you need to really worry about. Now, there's also a platform here in Australia called Carnextdoor, and this is a short-term car leasing option where you can put your car up on the platform. Somebody can come and collect the keys from you or from a lockbox, and then they can rent your car. So they'll pay for a kilometre rate, they'll pay for any damages or repairs that they use, and your car is insured by the platform. And they will also pay you for a day rate if they're going to lease it for a long time, or an hourly rate for a short time. So if your car was leased for, say, a 5-day period, you'd pay 5-day rates and also any kilometers used within that time, plus then for any damages that it is incurring by it being leased out. It's a really cool platform. It's a nice way to make some income off your car and offset some of the cost of car ownership, especially if you're going to go away on a holiday or you had a second car that you didn't need all the time. You can simply list your car on this platform, lease it out, earn a bit of income back on the days that you don't wish to use it. And it's also a really nice option to get your car out of the way if you need your garage free for a little while or something like that, which is really cool. Now, if you want a link to that, I have a link in the description below for Carnextdoor. And if you lease a car from there or put your car up to be leased, then you'll get a $15 credit to your account. So that's pretty cool. It's a nice thing to put towards using another car or to lease your car out and earn some income. By growing the platform, there'll be more users and more people leasing their cars out, so that gives you more options. All right, the next thing you can do is a platform called Parkhound. This exists where you can just lease out a car bay. So you basically list your garage space, your car bay at an apartment complex or in the city, and people can rent it off you for a day or two or however long they need it. You may have a car bay that someone needs for the whole year of work and you live in the city, so this is a great way to make income off that, especially if you don't actually need to have a car where you live. If you live close enough to work and all the things you need that you don't need a car, lease the car bay out and make some money. Now this platform is called Parkhound and it's very efficient. If you wish to sign up to Parkhound, they actually do a referral program. I don't have any affiliation with them, so I can't help you out, but perhaps you can find somebody offering a discount code or something like that online where they can help you out with this. Parkhound is very cool. Now, there's obviously a lot of other platforms out there where you can earn some sort of passive income for your property or space, but these are the three I just want to list. So we've got Airbnb, Carnextdoor, and Parkhound. Now, let's look at other ways we can make some income on top of our sort of 9-to-5 job. My favorite is through investing. So if you take some of your earnings every single week or month or year and you put it into an investment, that investment is then going to pay you back. Now, there's a few ways this can happen. Through rent. So if you buy a house, you rent your house out, you earn rental income back. This is very tax efficient because while renting a property out, any maintenance or works you do on the property becomes a tax deduction. The interest of your loan to buy that property becomes tax deductible off your income as well. And then you can depreciate assets within the property like your oven, microwave, fridge, etc. if you rent it out, allowing you to claim some money against your taxable income, reducing your tax liability, and allowing you to have essentially more untaxed income that you can use for other things. So property, whilst it is a little more of a managed investment type, you can earn some very good income from it. It's tax efficient, and over the long term, we can expect that the value of property should be going up steadily. This is not always a guarantee, though we can assume that based on historical sort of data, the prices of property will go up relative to inflation, if not a little faster. Some economies will have periods where the property market does worse than what inflation is doing, but as long as you're diversified in your assets, that should balance out the ride a little bit. Plus rental income, it's quite nice to receive that every month. The next vessel we can invest our money into is through shares. Now, shares pay you dividends if you actually look for dividend shares, where every period that they pay, you receive money in your account. You can choose to reinvest this if you want, but you may just want to collect that money and live on or use it for expenses, which is fine too. So if you want to establish your dividend reinvestment plans, just find my video on how to set that up, and I basically take you through going into the registrar website, setting up your dividend reinvestment plans, tax file number, etc. And this is fantastic so that you can get started and get that ball rolling. Now, if you don't want to have your dividends reinvested, you'll still need to log in and establish your bank account in which you want those dividends paid into. You've got to set up your tax file number so that you don't pay the TFN withholding tax rate of 40%, and you only actually have to pay your nominal tax rate. So it's worth doing, okay? We also, when we receive dividends, we have a few tax efficiencies. So if you buy a dividend stock that pays a franking credit component to their stocks, we have this in Australia, not in the United States. Basically, they pay their corporate tax rate of 30%, and then they pay you the dividend. What's fantastic about this is that 30% prepaid tax is now a credit to your tax liability for that dividend component. So if you have a basically like an income that is in a higher tax bracket than that 30%, you only have to pay that small window. Let's say you're in the 37 cents on the dollar window, you'll only have to pay a 7% tax on the remaining 30% because it's already been covered, okay, on your dividend. If, however, you earn less than that 30% tax liability or tax threshold, you're going to get a franking refund when you lodge your tax return at the end of financial year. So this is going to allow you to actually have a bit more cash to play around with later on, because that will offset any liability you have. It will actually be more than what you had the obligation to pay, so you'll receive it back. Now, the next really cool component of some dividends is with real estate investment trusts. There is a basically tax-free component to the dividend based on the reasons I listed before when I went through the property income off rentals. You have depreciation, interest claims, expenses, etc. that offset the tax component. So that basically means when this real estate investment trust or the share that you purchase in it pays you a dividend, there should be a portion of that dividend amount which has a tax-free component, meaning you only have to pay tax on the remaining component of that dividend. Now this can be really efficient. It means you're not having to pay tax on 100% of the earnings you make if you buy real estate investment trusts or shares that pay a franking credit. So this is actually more efficient than perhaps doing overtime at your job or something like that, because we're eventually going to have a smaller tax liability on the same dollars earned. However, to get to the point where you need to invest that money to receive dividends, doing overtime and all of those sorts of things can be really good to get money into the market initially. So I like that. Now, the next option we can use to create some income on top of our normal wages is through interest. So there are peer-to-peer lending platforms out there. My favorite one here in Australia is Plenty, and they basically allow you to loan out your money to other individuals. Then you receive a bit of income back in the form of interest as they pay that loan back to you. So I've got about 10% of my portfolio into peer-to-peer lending. I earn about 6.2% back on average per annum, and that just automatically reinvests. The market rate has come down, and right now it's sitting at about 3.5% due to the rise in bond yields. However, that's still a better return than what you get in a high interest bank account, which also pays interest. So I like using peer-to-peer lending for a portion of my income. Now, on interest income, there's no tax-free component. You will pay 100% of that income will be taxable. So you'll pay your nominal tax rate on top of that, okay? So I just want you guys to be very aware that you're not getting any of the tax efficiencies of property or shares, but it is another investment play for diversification, and it's very cool knowing that your money could be helping someone else start a new business venture, consolidating debt, paying off a credit card, etc. So I really like peer-to-peer lending, and I think it's a cool way to help out others whilst also benefiting yourself with interest returns. This platform also charges people less than a bank for their personal loans, so I really think that's a cool option to be able to get involved in and have a small portion of my net worth invested through. So interest income is fully taxable, but it is income, okay? So guys, thanks for watching. If you got any value from this video, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know how you plan to increase your income every single week, month, or year. Guys, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.